Yes.
So, good morning and namaskar to all the respected dignitaries, esteemed researchers, scholars, presenters, and participants joining from India and across the globe. On behalf of Writers Reservoir India, a think tank of communicators and communication today, a bilingual, quarterly bilingual media journal, I, Babita Sharma, Organizing Secretary of the conference, warmly welcome you all to this first technical session of the two-day online international conference on global issues and media responses. The first technical session focuses on extremely timely and thought-provoking theme, that is climate crisis and media responsibility. As we navigate an era marked by environmental emergencies, extreme weather events that we all are witnessing in our day-to-day lives, and rising global anxieties, the role of media becomes more critical than ever. Media does not just inform, it shapes public understanding, influences policies, and builds a collective consciousness needed to address the climate issues responsibly. And in today's session, we have papers on mixed topics, but our main objective will be to navigate how media can play an important role in creating awareness regarding various climate and environmental issues. As a session coordinator, I'm honored to guide this academic dialogue today. I extend my best wishes to all the presenters and participants who will be sharing their research and perspectives. So now I take the privilege to introduce the session chair of Technical Session 1, Mr. Rajiv Tikoo. He's a journalist, editor, podcaster, development communication expert. Mr. Tikoo is a distinguished media professional with a rich and diverse career across journalism, editorial leadership, communication for development, and sustainability advocacy. He currently produces the Sustainability Karma podcast on All India Radio, writes the Development Chopal blog for the Times of India, and serves as the convener of UA for Sustainability. His illustrious editorial journey includes leadership roles at the Indian Express Group, Outlook Group, United Nations Millennium Campaign, One World Group, that is a non-profit. He began his journalism career with India Today and has since developed extensive expertise in sustainable development communication. Academically, Mr. Tikoo specializes in media management, environmental law, and sustainable development. He's also a recipient of prestigious global fellowship, including one from the Cambridge Program for Sustainability Leadership, UK. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of the whole organizing team and present you with a symbolic e-bouquet expressing our gratitude for your participation and the intellectual contribution that you are doing to this conference. We welcome you, sir. And it's when I read your bio, it was really very I felt really good that we have such a person in as a session chair who can very aptly guide the session. So we welcome you, sir, and thank you so much for gracing the occasion.
Uh, Thank you, Babita ji.
So,
Thank you,
with
Babita ji,
great
for that.
respect, yes, sir, please go on.
Yeah. Thank you, Babita ji, for this kind introduction. And I'm really privileged to be part of this important session. And congratulations to Banavat sir and the team for organizing this very ambitious conference. And it's very humbling to be part of this one. And the kind of session we are going to be participating right now is a very important one. And I think it's also maybe one of the first times ever in my memory that a session after lunch is beginning on time. So this is a rare thing I have seen in live as well as online conferences. But again, I think then Banaji keeps on setting higher benchmarks every time. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Babita ji and the team. So on behalf of the conference organizers, I again welcome all the esteemed speakers in this session. I'm delighted to welcome all of you and the kind of illustrious careers you have and the kind of contributions you have made and the kind of papers you are going to be sharing today. It's going to be enlightening, I'm sure. So without much ado, we'll begin with the first researcher, but a couple of quick housing rules, which I'm sure is in line with what other sessions have done. One is that I would request all the panelists to keep their presentations to around 5 minutes, and that could leave us a couple of minutes for question answer from other participants as well as panelists here. So that will be very kind of you. And then, of course, we'll progress accordingly. And if some of our speakers are not present at the moment, we can invite them later as they keep on coming. So I'll begin with Ms. Sarika Duseja ji, who research scholar Maharaja Agrasen, Himalayan Garhwal University, Uttarakhand, who is going to be talking about beyond silence, empathy, power, and feminist reflections in literature. Sarkaji, you are welcome to join us right now and begin your presentation. And I would request you to begin with a brief introduction about yourself for the rest of our panel members and the audiences. Welcome, Sarkaji. Do we have Sarkaji here? So with the permission of the organizer, should I move to the next speaker and we can then invite Sarkaji
Yes,
when
sir.
she's
I
back?
don't think Sarika has joined yet. We can start with Nishali.
Okay, we can move then to Miss Nishali Yu, who comes from Mangalore, and Bhavya Shetty ji, who comes from again Mangalore. They are going to be talking about the portrayal of dark-skinned people in Bollywood, a study of colorism in Indian cinema. This subject we normally find similar subjects only being done in the US. It's a really refreshing to see this subject in the Indian context. So I can see Nishali ji is here, and if Bhavya ji is also here, that would be great. Otherwise, you can go ahead with Nishali ji. And a couple of words about yourself, ma'am, that would be helpful.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Nishali and I'm from St. Aloysius, Mangalore. On behalf of Ms. Bhavya Shetty, author 2, I'll be presenting the today's presentation. So can I share the screen? Can I start, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead. Your time begins now. 5 minutes, please.
Okay, sir. So my topic is the portrayal of dark-skinned people in Bollywood. It's a study of how colorism is present in Indian cinemas. And when I say colorism, it's about what form of discrimination is happening. Like the fairness skin tone is privileged over the dark skin within the same racial or ethical group. Like it is inbuilt, it is rooted in colonial histories and caste hierarchies and media driven beauty norms. So the influence in social influence is also present. And why did I choose Bollywood only? Because in some of the South Indian films, for example, Malayalam film industry, we see casts. The casting is done normally. They don't give importance to glamour more. Whereas in Bollywood, this is present. And Bollywood being the India's largest and most influential film industry, it will have an influence on the society, our norms as well. So Bollywood's role in colorism is fair-skinned characters are dominated. And what I mean when I say that they are dominated is by the roles they get, the pattern, either by lead roles or romantic arcs or narratively they are successful. Whereas the dark-skinned characters appears in the role which are coded like hardship, struggle, aggressiveness, or any other negative role such as. And yeah, the objectives of my dissertation is to analyze how Bollywood construct and communicate meaning around skin tone, to identify the stereotypes, visual codes, and narrative patterns associated with dark skin, to assess whether modern films attempts to counter colorism likewise assumptions interpret findings through spouses and pearsons. That is the method I've used for the overall framework. And my research questions are: how are dark-skinned individuals visually and narratively represented in selected Bollywood films, the sampling films which I have chosen, and what semiotic science associates skin tones with class, gender, social identity, and desirability. And the third research question of mine is: to what extent do contemporary Bollywood films challenge or reinforce colorist stereotypes? So the methods which I have used here is: the overall research is done in qualitative. I'm, I'm so sorry.
It is a qualitative method. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the overall framework is exploring the qualitative analysis, and I have used method of textual analysis. Why textual analysis is because to understand the meaning what that movie says, and the other method is semiotic analysis by sources and peers to understand how the meaning is created. And I've also done intercoding because intercoding minimalizes researchers bias is what I felt. And the sampling is persuasive sampling, non-probability. So 5 films I have chosen from 2015 to 2025: Gully Boy, Bala, Super 30, Urta Punjab, and Sister Midnight. So data analysis in intercoding is character positioning, how the roles and class markers, like what pattern are the dark-skinned people portrayed in Bollywood films. The visual representation also, like the how the lightings are used, makeup, let it be color grading and costumes as well. And when it comes to narrative functions, the hero or heroine roles or the victims, the kind of pattern the roles are given to them. And in symbolic science could be like the setup of the frame, whether they are from rural settings or urban, poverty indicators, or whether it's natural versus refined look. And even when it comes to dialogues, metaphor related to fairness or beauty is represented. And gaze and camera, how the frameworks works when the character is fair versus when the character is dark skin toned. And findings of my research work is that dark skin characters are often shown in marginalized comic or rural or villainous roles, like most probably negative roles, whereas the fair skin characters reveal centric, desirable, and aspirational portrayals are given. When it comes to semiotics, like lightings, makeup, camera angle, clothings, background settings, and dialogues, often it is linked with skin with lower class masculinity or hardship or even the undesirabilities, while fair skin toned people are focused mostly on glamour, softness, privilege, and romantic appeal. Most And the third finding is the contemporary film, like the recent films, like Sister Midnight from 2025, we can see a slight change in Bollywood. Like it's not always how they used to portray dark skinned people. Whereas in this, the protagonist, when she's inside the home, she is given less lightings and they are made her look pale. Whereas when she steps out of her husband's house, harsh lightings are used to show that freedom and independence. So there are probabilities of changes when it comes to dark skin portrayals. So concluding it, colorism in Bollywood remains deeply embedded but not unchallenged. While stereotypes persist, some filmmakers use semiotic depth to redefine beauty standards as well. A gradual shift towards inclusiveness is definitely visible, yet mainstream narratives still focus on fairness somewhere. So recommendations: to cast more dark-skinned actors, but in a diverse role, and not to exaggerate the makeup. Like they use fair skin tone people and make them, they do their makeup where they end up looking dark skin. Like in Super 30, Hrithik Roshan is portrayed as dark skin toned person. So that's not needed when they can actually hire a dark skinned people who can play such kind of roles. And yeah, the research gaps are the new age Bollywood films like post 2020s can be done, and even in advertisements, and especially in the field of OTT platforms like digital platforms like Netflix and YouTube Prime. There, the research could be done, and that's it. If there's any questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Nishali ji. That was very interesting perspective which we heard from you. And I, for one, can only remember one movie long back where Ashok Kumar was shown as a very in a very dark makeup, and of course that was a very challenging kind of situation for him. But the more contemporary interpretation is good to hear from you. Thanks a lot for making those points. And I'll invite audiences or esteemed audience, if anybody has a quick question, we can quickly take that. A couple of questions right now. Anybody there? Okay, maybe people will come in later. So we'll move on. Thanks a lot again, Nishali ji, and also
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
to your colleague Bhavya Shetty ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I'll now request Shri Yogendra Pratap Singh ji and his colleague Captain Dr. Santosh Kumar Singh. उनका जो रिसर्च पेपर है सामाजिक मूल्यों के विकास में सोशल मीडिया की भूमिका युवा दृष्टिकोण से समाजशास्त्रीय अध्ययन. योगेंद्र प्रताप सिंह जी है क्या हमारे साथ अभी?
हाँ सर. यस सर.
सर प्लीज वेलकम सर.
थैंक यू सर. आप सभी को सर मेरा नमस्कार.
सर कैमरा भी ऑन कर लेते, हम आपके दर्शन भी कर लेते.
हाँ सर.
थैंक यू सर.
आप सभी को नमस्कार सर.
सर प्लीज अपने बारे में थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन दे दीजिएगा और 5 मिनट है हमारे पास प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए. उसके बाद कोई सवाल हो तो.
मैं योगेंद्र प्रताप सिंह, इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी से पहले मैंने ग्रेजुएशन किया. कानपुर यूनिवर्सिटी से मैंने बीए किया, पीजी किया, एमए किया. फिर मैं इंटर कॉलेज में राजकीय आश्रम पद्धति में पोस्टेड था. इसके बाद मैं असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हुआ तो बरेली कॉलेज में पोस्टेड रहा. फिर 2018 में मैं पीसीएस, इस समय जिला सूचना अधिकारी सर मैं गाजियाबाद में पोस्टेड हूँ. तो मेरा सर चूंकि टॉपिक भी यही, व्यवसाय भी, पेशा भी, नौकरी भी कर रहा हूँ, तो इसलिए मेरा चूंकि शिक्षा से और ये मीडिया से बहुत जुड़ाव है और निरंतर इसके काम कर रहा हूँ.
जी सर.
तो मैंने जो सब्जेक्ट उठाया सर, जो टॉपिक है कि सामाजिक मूल्यों के विकास में सोशल मीडिया का भूमिका और युवाओं के दृष्टिकोण से, क्योंकि भारत में सबसे ज्यादा युवा पाए जाते हैं. लगभग 65% युवा पूरे देश के नागरिकों में युवा हैं भारत में. तो यह भारतीय समाज को कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस करेगा, इसके बारे में मेरा एक स्टडी. तो सर मैंने इंट्रोडक्शन में ये है सर, क्योंकि दुनिया वैश्विक डिजिटली क्रांति और वैश्विक सोशल मीडिया को आधुनिक समाज का एक प्रभावशाली बना दिया. आज के दुनिया में कहते हैं डिजिटल के बिना कुछ, हर चीज को समाज में अंतिम व्यक्ति तक पहुंचाना है, समाज को जागरूक करना है, समाज में नैतिक जो भी चीज है वो आपको इस डिजिटल क्रांति में सोशल मीडिया का जरूरत पड़ेगी ही. दूसरा है कि भारत में जो युवा प्रधान, जो 65% युवा रहते हैं भारत में, वो कैसे अपने विचारों, संप्रेषण और सामाजिक दृष्टिकोण से कैसे भारतीय समाज को प्रभावित कर रहे हैं, उसमें मीडिया, सोशल मीडिया का क्या योगदान है. तीसरा मैंने ये लिया है कि युवा सामाजिक परिवर्तन, किसी भी सोसाइटी में कहा जाता है कि अगर परिवर्तन का कोई वाहक होता है तो युवा होते हैं. उसमें शंकराचार्य को कहा जाता है कि 32 वर्ष की उम्र में उन्होंने पूरा भारतीय आइडियोलॉजी ही चेंज कर दी. जैसे स्वामी विवेकानंद के बारे में कहा जाता है 39 वर्ष में उन्होंने पूरा वैश्विक विचार दे दिया भारतीय. चौथा, आज सोशल मीडिया एक ऐसा है कि जहां सर पारंपरिक मूल्य और आधुनिक मूल्य दोनों के बीच संवाद अच्छे तरफ होते हैं. फिर डिस्कोर्स भी होता है, तर्क वितर्क भी चलता है और एक नई चीज भी निकल के आती है. चौथा मैंने शोध में लिया है सर, सोशल मीडिया मूल्यों को मजबूत बनाती है कि या गिरावट लाती है. तो इसके लिए पांचवा मैंने लिया है समग्र रूप से अध्ययन सोशल मीडिया सामाजिक मूल्यों के आंतर संबंध का समाजशास्त्री प्रश्न प्रस्तुत करना, डिजिटल में युवाओं को इसकी समझ और दृष्टिकोण क्या होता है। फिर मैंने सर अध्ययन की पृष्ठभूमि, जो ये कैसा बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द स्टडी, डिजिटल संचार तकनीकों तेज विस्तार से सामाजिक संरचनाओं, परिवर्तन और सामाजिक संबंधों और मूल्य मान्यताओं को पुनर्परिभाषित कर रहा है। तीसरा है सर, इसमें युवा वर्ग तकनीकी परिवर्तन को सबसे तेज अपनाता है। सोशल मीडिया युवा प्रधान सामाजिक चेतना, नैतिक सांस्कृतिक मूल्यों के पुनर्गठन का तेज करता है। डिजिटल वातावरण युवाओं को जागरूकता, सहभागिता, अभिव्यक्ति के नए अवसर देता है, परंतु साथ में ही मूल्य विकृत, मिथ्या चेतना, साइबर क्राइम और मनो सामाजिक दबाव, एक प्रेशर ग्रुप का भी काम कर रहा है। क्योंकि चौथा अध्ययन का उद्देश्य है सर, डिजिटल माध्यम से युवाओं की मूल्य चेतना और नैतिक चेतना और दृष्टिकोण में कैसे रूपांतरित किया जाए। इसके सर लिए मैंने विभिन्न साहित्यों का भी रिव्यू किया है। तो साहित्य में भी लगभग अलग अलग, जैसे मार्विक है, इन्होंने सोशल मीडिया कहते हैं कि ये पहचान निर्माण और नए मूल्य का एक माध्यम है। कस्टाल कहते हैं कि शक्ति संरचना, डिजिटल नेटवर्क शक्ति संरचना का आधार बन गया। आजकल ये देखा जाता है कि जो डिजिटली जितना इन्फ्लुएंसर, वो अपने आप को पावरफुल है, कि कहते हैं कि जितना उसका विस्तार हो रहा है, जितना लाइक और ये कमेंट या जितना उसके साथ अभियानों को, विचारों को लोग सुन रहे हैं या विचारों से वो डिजिटली उतना, कहते हैं कि पावर सेंटर हो गया। उस तरह से और स्टडी मैंने लिया है, तो जैसे जो सांस्कृतिक पहचान का आधार, मूल्यबोध, पुनर्विभाषित, ये सब अपने स्टडी में दिखाए गए हैं। हमारा सर मेन उद्देश्य ये है कि हम इसको निष्कर्ष क्यों लें, हमारी ये आवश्यकता क्यों पड़ी। उद्देश्य यह है सर कि सोशल मीडिया सामाजिक मूल्यों के निर्माण पर जो है सबसे ज्यादा प्रभावित कर रहा है। सोशल मीडिया युवा सामाजिक सोच और नैतिकता, व्यवहार के किस प्रकार परिवर्तन, युवाओं के सोचना सकारात्मक नकारात्मक, इसके लिए सर मैंने हाइपोथेसिस लिया, हाइपोथेसिस उपकल्पना की, जिसमें मैंने सर लगभग 100 गाजियाबाद के 100 युवाओं का डाटा लिया। उसमें सर स्त्री और पुरुष दोनों के लिए सर। इसके बाद मैंने विभिन्न आयु वर्ग के, जैसे 18 से 22, 22 से 23 से 27, 27 से 32, फिर 33, फिर उसमें सर मैंने कटराई कि इनका क्या करना, फिर विभिन्न सेक्टर में कि इनकी शिक्षा, एजुकेशन के सेक्टर में क्या है, हेल्थ के सेक्टर में क्या है, ये क्या विचार रखते हैं। फिर सर उसमें भी मैंने नैतिक, जैसे कोरोना पीरियड में देखे होंगे सर, कुछ डॉक्टर तो अच्छे काम किए, सामाजिक सेवा के भाव से किए, कुछ नैतिक मूल्य जो है वो उसका फायदा उठा के दुरुपयोग किए, उसमें अनैतिकता। मैंने देखा सर उस समय सिलेंडर ऑक्सीजन का गैस 20-20 हजार के वही डॉक्टर, एम्बुलेंस 20-20 हजार के ले रहे थे, लेकिन उसमें यही डिस्कस ले रहे हैं कि डिजिटली लाख विकास कर लीजिए, कोई कुछ भी विकास करिए, अगर आपके अंदर एथिक्स की भाव नहीं है, नैतिकता, तो वो चीज नहीं है, तो उसमें भी सर नहीं है। तो मैंने सर तीसरा इसका उपयोग बनाया कि घंटे उपयोग करते हैं, तो उसमें सर कुछ लोग जैसे 30 मिनट है, कुछ लोग 40 मिनट है, कुछ लोग 2 घंटे हैं, कुछ लोग 3 घंटे, औसत जो सर एक निकल के आता है वो 2 से 2.5 घंटे 3 घंटे युवा करते हैं मैक्सिमम। तो उसमें सर ये है कि हम अब ऐसे युवाओं का निष्कर्ष ये दे रहे हैं कि हम क्या इनके सकारात्मक उपयोग से समाज को सही दिशा या ये युवा दे सकते हैं, या इनके जो नकारात्मक जो उपयोग कर रहे हैं ये समाज को किस दिशा में लेके जाएंगे, ये समाज को विनाशात्मक लेके जाएंगे कि समाज को विकासात्मक में ले जाएंगे। तो इससे सर हमारा जो सर निष्कर्ष निकल के आता है वो ये है कि अगर हम सोशल मीडिया का उपयोग सामाजिक मूल्य और व्यवहार और जागरूकता को एक सही दिशा देते हैं, एक सही दिशा में उनको गाइडलाइन करते हैं, या खुद उनके ऊपर ऐसी नैतिकता के नाम जिससे उपयोग करें, तो एक समाज को अच्छा जो है प्रोग्रेसिव सोसाइटी हो सकती है, जो समाज के अंतिम व्यक्ति तक पहुंच सकती है। दूसरा सर इसमें है कि सभी जो आजकल देखा जा रहा है वातावरण सर, शुरू में कोई भी तकनीकी जब आदमी अपनाता है तो उसमें यह देखा जाता है सर कि कहीं ना कहीं उसको गलत या उत्तम, लेकिन धीरे 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 जैसे परिपक्वता आती है वो उसमें जो है पॉजिटिविज्म स्वीकार कर, वो अच्छे दिशा में काम करना शुरू कर देता है। जो कि गलती जब उसको एहसास होती है कि नहीं, तो ये देखा है सर कि अगर अच्छे मूल्य सकारात्मक सोच के साथ अगर तकनीकी का विकास, तकनीकी का प्रयोग किया जाए तो सोशल मीडिया सर एक पॉजिटिव, एक इन्फ्लुएंस, पॉजिटिव जो है माहौल सर सोसाइटी में बनना, जिससे अंतिम व्यक्ति तक विकास हो सकता है और समाज को सकारात्मक प्रोग्रेस बढ़ जाएगी।
थैंक यू योगेंद्र जी, अच्छा रहा आपका प्रेजेंटेशन, जिसमें ये तो निकल के ही आता है कि अब सोशल मीडिया उतना है अच्छा जितना हम उसको इस्तेमाल करें। अब हमारे युवकों पे डिपेंड करता है कि कैसे करें और हमारे मूल्यों पे डिपेंड करता है। थैंक यू फॉर मेकिंग दिस।
नहीं सर, मैं इस पे एक बात कहना चाहूंगा सर कि हमारी पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम भी हमारे सोशल इन्वायरमेंट है। अगर ये अच्छे दिशा में एक माहौल होता है, देश का इन्वायरमेंट इंटेलेक्चुअल वर्क से बनता है और लीडर वर्क से, किसी भी क्षेत्र के जो लीडर वर्क, इलिट वर्क होता है, अगर वो सकारात्मक दिशा होता है, अगर वो सकारात्मक दिशा दे रहे हैं तो धीरे धीरे चूंकि वही रोल मॉडल युवा भी सीखते हैं।
सही बात है सर। तो मैं बाकी साथियों से, जो भी हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, अगर किसी का कोई सवाल हो, प्रश्न हो, तो प्लीज अभी पूछिए, तो नहीं तो हम आगे चलते हैं। बाद में भी सवाल कर सकते हैं। अगर किसी के पास कोई सवाल हो प्लीज आइए आगे। तो आई थिंक शायद सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी था पूरा, तो हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। थैंक यू सिंह साहब, अच्छा लगा आपका प्रेजेंटेशन सुन के, और आपने मेरे पड़ोस में गाजियाबाद में काम किया हुआ तो और भी अच्छा लगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच
सर कभी आइए सर।
जरूर सर। तो we'll move to Dr. Taruna Narula ji, who's faculty from Department of Communication, Media and Technology, JC Bose University of Science and Technology, FMCA, Faridabad. And
yeah, sir. Good
ma'am,
afternoon.
good afternoon, and she'll be talking about regional divide by AI, power, ethics, equity in the age of language, large language models. बहुत पर्टिनेंट सब्जेक्ट है, बहुत कंटेम्पररी है और फ्यूचर तक हमें इन्फ्लुएंस करेगा।
Yes, it is
Over to
very,
you,
very
Dr. Taruna Narula ji.
my
A brief
listeners and
introduction
my
about yourself
colleagues.
and 5 minutes for your presentation, ma'am.
Just a second, sir. I'm so sorry. Let me just close the curtain
Yeah,
because
please.
it is creating dark.
Sure, please,
Light
please do that. Please
against
do
the
that.
subject.
Yeah, please do that.
Thanks.
तो भानुवत सर, बड़े एक सब्जेक्ट्स काफी कंटेम्पररी और इन आगे तक इन्फ्लुएंस करने वाले सब्जेक्ट्स भी
Yes,
हमारे
sir.
पास वैल्यूज को
Yes,
देख
sir. It's very, very, no doubt, very contemporary and very logical too. मैं भी आपको दिखाती हूँ. Let me share the PDF.
Ma'am, a brief introduction about yourself would be helpful
Yes,
for
yes,
some
yes,
of us.
yes, yes, sir. I am, good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Taruna Narula from JC Bose University, YMCA Faridabad. I, along with my student Kirti Jha, are going to present the topic, diversity. This is about the North and South gap. Like how algorithms are creating gaps in North and South globe. North means here we have defined North and South world very precisely, and we have defined North globe as the economic powers. Economic powers in the sense those who are economically rich, having high income group, and South globe is like economically slightly low, like Latin America, Africa. These are the topics. These are the countries comes under. Although China also coming under the South globe, but here China is dominating. This is the basic reason कि हम लोगों ने इसको ग्लोबल साउथ में इसको काउंट होते हुए भी इसको अलग थोड़ा सा रखा है. Here is our PPT PDF. Show my screen. Yes.
Please.
Like. Yeah. So today I want to begin by drawing attention to a structural reality. The global AI economic system is deeply uneven. While the global north controls the data, compute power, and innovation pipelines, much of the global south experiences limited access, limited representation, and disappropriate, vulnerable reality to AI risk. So, just a second, So algorithms are dividing. The algorithms are dividing the reality, global reality, global structures, north versus south. Here the map is clearly showing this. Next is that it is estimated by the UN that all over world by 2020 artificial intelligence is going to be economic force, and it is going to add $15.7 trillion in the world economy. But the thing is कि ये जितना भी चाहे इकोनॉमी को बूस्ट अप कर दे, it is always going to benefit the node, those who are creating, those who are holding, those who are channelizing the AI. It is going to benefit them or not anybody else. How? This is what we have discussed in the PDF. This is what we have discussed in this our study. So इसमें हम लोगों ने क्या डिस्कस किया, कैसे हम लोगों ने इसको बांटा. सबसे पहले लेट अस डिफाइन द साउथ एंड नॉर्थ एंड हाउ द डिजिटल स्ट्रक्चर्स आर डिवाइडिंग नॉर्थ एंड साउथ. सबसे पहले तो नॉर्थ एंड साउथ में यही, जैसे मैंने आप लोगों को हम लोगों ने पहले भी बताया कि नॉर्थ में आ जाते हैं की प्लेयर्स हमारे यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स एंड सम यूरोपियन कंट्रीज. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट चाइना, बिकॉज चाइना इज इमर्जिंग, चाइना इज थ्रेटनिंग द पावर ऑफ यूएसए. अर्लियर यूएसए वाज पायनियरिंग इन दिस, बट China also did research and they did hard work in this very field, and they acquired some infrastructure and they worked very hard for the talent to generate AI. तो उन्होंने, चाइना ने भी इस दिशा में बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत करी और इसी कारण से now they are challenging US's power. They are also pioneering in this. They are really doing in a very, very dynamic way, not just to control their own country. In many ways, China is doing so. तो इस तरीके से मतलब जो टेक्नोलॉजिकल गेन्स हैं वो नॉर्थ को अफेक्ट कर रहे हैं, और साउथ जो है वो अभी भी इट इज स्टिल स्ट्रगलिंग टू गेट द प्रॉपर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, राइट टैलेंट, डेटा सेट्स, और बहुत ज्यादा मुश्किलें उसको फेस करनी पड़ रही है. एंड दिस इज जस्ट बिकॉज ये जो टेक्निकल, ये जो डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है ये बहुत ज्यादा डिमांडिंग है. इट नीड्स मतलब बहुत ज्यादा डाटा एक तो चाहिए. सबसे पहले तो LLM, सबसे पहले तो कंप्यूटर्स चाहिए, सुपर कंप्यूटर्स चाहिए, हैविंग ग्रेट फास्ट स्पीड. सुपर कंप्यूटर्स चाहिए, अच्छे स्पीड के चाहिए, चिप्स चाहिए, लॉट ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वी रिक्वायर टू डेवलप एंड लॉट ऑफ मनी ऑल्सो रिक्वायर टू डेवलप दिस AI systems. और इसके साथ साथ AI सिस्टम के साथ साथ जो ये सिस्टम डेवलप करने के लिए जो मनी चाहिए वो केवल रिच कंट्रीज के पास ही, वो कहीं और भी नहीं है. इनफैक्ट जो यूके है, यूके इज ऑल्सो डेवलप कंट्री, बट इवन यूके भी जो है, यूके फ्रॉम डेवलप कंट्रीज भी जो है वो इतना ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट AI में नहीं कर पा रहे हैं जितना कि यूएसए कर पा रहा है. और जब जो डेवलप कंट्रीज नहीं कर पा रही है तो व्हाट टू टॉक अबाउट द ग्लोबल साउथ. तो ग्लोबल साउथ इज स्ट्रगलिंग टू गेट द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, राइट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. जहां पर मतलब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की इतनी प्रॉब्लम है, मतलब कई कंट्रीज है, कई स्टेट्स इंडिया में भी ऐसी है, कई कंट्रीज पूरे विश्व में इस तरह की है जहां पर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है, जहां पर इंटरनेट कनेक्शंस नहीं है, जहां पर स्मार्टफोन को एक्सेस नहीं है. वहां पर हम लोग AI की बात कर सकते हैं? इट इज नॉट जस्ट पॉसिबल. अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज हैं जहां पर हम बहुत ज्यादा फेस करते हैं इंटरनेट की समस्या, इंटरनेट की एक्सेस की भी समस्या को फेस करते हैं, जेंडर बाइसेस भी वहां पर फेस करते हैं. लाइक लेडीज कम इंटरनेट को एक्सेस करती हैं, मेल ज्यादा एक्सेस करते हैं, वो भी एक प्रॉब्लम है. So overall, we can say that जो power है, concentration of power is creating a stark global AI divide, and power retains in the hand of North. अब यहाँ पर एक और आ जाता है that a few technology giants now act as gatekeepers to a global resource. ये कैसे global resource है? ये ऐसे global resource है कि it is still एक्सट्रैक्टिंग. जो ये ग्लोबल रिसोर्स है इसकी कहीं ना कहीं कॉलोनिज्म के साथ ही जो है जड़ें जुड़ी हुई हैं. कैसे जी, मैं भी स्लाइड में आप लोगों को समझाती हूँ, ये एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ. दिस स्लाइड इज एक्सप्लेनिंग दैट ग्लोबल कॉलोनियल चेन. नाउ द थिंग इज कि जैसे पुराने जमाने में यूरोपियन कॉलोनीज होती थी, यूरोपियन कॉलोनीज कैसे करती थी कि वो दूसरी कंट्रीज पर इन्वेट करती थी, पॉलिटिकली वहां पर रूल करते थे, और वहां का सारा जो है जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, वहां का जो मतलब रिसोर्स होते थे लाइक सिल्वर, गोल्ड, ये सारा मटेरियल लेके जाते थे. इवन ह्यूमन लेबर भी जो है वो एक्सपोर्ट करते थे, भेजते थे दूसरी कंट्री में होता था. ठीक है. सिमिलरली अब जो कैसे होता है, अब थिंग्स आर स्लाइटली डिफरेंट. Things are slightly different in the sense कि अब जो ग्लोबल डिवाइड है वो इस तरीके से है कि पावर जो है अब किन के हाथों में, वो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज के हाथों में है, जैसे एप्पल हो गया, निविदा हो गया, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट हो गया, गूगल हो गया, इन लोगों के हाथ। अब जो बिग जायंट्स आ गए हैं, बिग जायंट्स आर कंट्रोलिंग द पावर। तो ये लोग जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज हैं ये साउथ ग्लोब में जाती हैं, साउथ ग्लोब में जाकर लैटिन अमेरिका, अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज, इन जगहों पर जाकर एक्सट्रैक्शन करते हैं, मिनरल्स का एक्सट्रैक्शन करते हैं, और दे क्रिएट देयर ओन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, देयर ओन थिंग्स, जैसे कि एप्पल का आईफोन हो गया या चिप्स हो गई। चिप्स को बजे जो एआई को बनाने के लिए जिस चिप की जरूरत होती है उसके लिए मैटर सारा एक्सट्रैक्ट किया जाता है अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज से। कुछ कुछ मटेरियल जो है चिली से किया जाता है, यानी कि लैटिन अमेरिका से किया जाता है। तो ये जो बिग जायंट्स कंपनी है ये दूसरे देशों में जाती हैं, वहां का मटेरियल एक्सट्रैक्ट करती हैं और अपने मोबाइल फोन्स और अपना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाकर सब लोगों को पूरे विश्व में बेचती हैं, एंड दे अर्न प्रॉफिट। दे नॉट ओनली अर्न प्रॉफिट थ्रू दिस, दे अर्न थ्रू
मैम सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू, मैम सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू, थोड़ा सा तेज कर देंगे क्योंकि यू आर रनिंग आउट ऑफ टाइम।
राइट, मैं इसी को
थोड़ा सा जल्दी कर देंगे प्लीज, टाइम लग रहा है।
नो प्रॉब्लम, आई कैन स्पीड अप, नो
मैम कैन यू हियर
प्रॉब्लम।
मी?
सो इसी में ही अब हम लोग क्या देखते हैं कि मतलब सिर्फ मटेरियल को ही नहीं, डिजिटल पावर को भी मतलब लिया जाता है, ह्यूमन पावर भी एक्सट्रैक्ट की जा रही है, और जो साउथ ग्लोब के लोग हैं वो सारा डिजिटल डाटा जो है मतलब संभाल रहे हैं, और नॉर्थ के लोगों को फायदा पहुंच रहा है, नॉर्थ वर्ल्ड के लोगों को। अल्टीमेटली व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन, दैट ये जो LLMs है, LLMs are going to rule the world, because ये जो LLMs है, large language models है, these are built up on internet data. Internet data is on English. तो English language is going to rule the मतलब वर्ल्ड। और बाकी जो कंट्रीज हैं जिसमें मतलब वेस्टर्न डाटा ये लोग प्रोड्यूस करेंगे, बाकी कंट्रीज का जो लैंग्वेज है वो और उनकी कल्चर है वो कहीं पर भी रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होगी। तो ये बदला जा सकता है, लेकिन इसके लिए हमारे को 3 चीजों की जरूरत पड़ेगी। One is pluralistic ecosystem, another one is inclusive governance, and third one is diverse leadership. So here is first point, that we must cultivate pluralistic and open source AI ecosystem. So rather than creating a black box जिसमें कि किसी की कोई सुनवाई नहीं, एक ओपन सोर्स एंटिट्यूड होना चाहिए जिसमें कि सब लोगों की पार्टिसिपेशन हो और सबके ही एक ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड सारी कंट्रीज की कल्चर्स को रिफ्लेक्ट किया जा सके। इसके लिए कोशिश भी की गई है वर्ल्ड लेवल पे, और एक ब्लूम प्रोजेक्ट जो है वो आया गया जिसका नाम, जिसमें कि 70 बहुत सारे कंट्रीज ने, 70+ कंट्रीज ने पार्टिसिपेट करा और उसके रिजल्ट्स निकाले, और एक AI सिस्टम डेवलप करने की कोशिश करें जिसमें कि ये सारी भाषाएं जो मेंशन है, वाली, योरबा, हिंदी, तमिल, ये सब भाषाओं को इंक्लूड किया गया। देन एक और चीज आती है कि AI को लेके एथिक्स की बात बहुत होती है। तो जब AI को लेकर एथिक्स की बात होती है तो यहाँ पर एक चीज और नजर में आती है कि एथिक्स में भी वेस्टर्न मॉडल को फॉलो किया जाता है रादर देन ग्लोबल मॉडल। सो हियर इज ए नीड टू डेवलप ए ग्लोबल मॉडल फॉर एथिक्स सो दैट एवरी कंट्री शुड बी बेनिफिटेड फ्रॉम एथिक्स, नॉट जस्ट वन। इसमें अफ्रीका ने लिया है इनिशिएट, तो यानी वो अपने एथिक्स को डेवलप करके दे आर वर्किंग इन दैट direction. Another practice is कि Kenya and Nigeria, they are developing their own local AI. It means they are working in this direction कि AI must work for their own benefit, their own country's people benefit, not for any others benefit. तो अगर इस तरह की डेवलप की जाती है अप्रोच, तो that will benefit for everybody, not just one country or 2 country. So इस तरीके से another thing we see the lack of representation of women in AI. AI में जो AI है, नॉर्मली वुमेन के रिज्यूमे जब जॉब की बात आती है वो वैसे भी ड्रॉप कर देता है। इटसेल्फ भी वुमेन AI ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने 30% ही होल्ड रखती है लीडरशिप में, बाकी नहीं रखती हैं। तो यहाँ पर भी एक जो है बैलेंस बनाने की जरूरत है। नेक्स्ट इज कि अगर पावर ऑफ एथिकल इंफॉर्मेशन की बात, एथिकल इंटरवेंशन की बात की जाए, तो एक हमें बहुत ज्यादा फेयरर सिस्टम की जरूरत होगी ताकि एक ग्लोबल अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्रिएट की जा सके AI के थ्रू, नॉट जस्ट वन part should be prosperous. और इसके लिए हम सबको आवाज उठानी होगी. People have to raise the voice in front of their governments. So, preventing an AI divide is a matter of conscious choice and policy. So, same as this, that people have to decide what to do. It's a conscious decide, and even जो government है उनको भी policies अपनी stronger frame करनी होंगी, not just frame करनी होंगी, accordingly act भी करना होगा, तब हम इस नए जो digital divide है इससे बच पाएंगे. So, the more or less we can say where a child in Lagos or Lahore has a chance to benefit from AI as one in London or Los Angeles. Thank you so much. If any questions, you are most welcome. Sir, you are not audible.
Very much for an interesting presentation, which gives a sense of the current and future challenges. Anybody has any questions, quickly please raise your hand, or I can move to the next one. I think I'm probably people will come back later. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you so much, Bhanabad sir, and congratulations for the great efforts.
I'll now invite Professor Muskan Golani, who comes from Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Vivekananda Global University, Jaipur.
Sir, she is not going to present today because of some urgent work.
Okay. Okay, so we'll move to the next one, and then the next speaker is Miss Esther Sangatam, a research scholar from Nagaland University. She's again going to be, is she there? Yeah, good to see you, Esther. She's going to be talking on AI and Naga cultural identity. Good, it's a continuation of the previous presentation. Please go ahead. And with a brief introduction about yourself, and then of course 5 minutes of presentation time. Thank you very much. Yeah, please go ahead. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you now. A bit louder would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Esther T. Sangdam from the Department of JMC, Nagaland University, Lumani. So I will be presenting on the AI and the Naga cultural identity, a study on cultural preservation. So let me share my screen. Can you see it, sir?
You can see it. Thanks.
Okay, so please wait. Cannot see. Yeah. So artificial intelligence is transforming how cultures are documented, interpreted, and shared, which creates new opportunities and risks for indigenous communities like the Nagas. So when we talk about the Nagas are very much into these oral traditions, folklores, and rituals that has been passed on from generation to generation through word of mouth. And AI-enabled tools such as digital archives and storytelling platforms can rapidly preserve and disseminate songs, myths, and customs to younger generations. At the same time, AI also raises a very serious concerns about authenticity, ownership, cultural appropriation, data privacy, and the loss of relational, human-centered storytelling values in cultural preservation. When we talk about the objectives, When we talk about the objectives, it is to explore how AI tools such as digital archiving and storytelling platforms can document and share Naga cultural heritage. And the second one is to examine the potentials and challenges of AI. For this study, I have used a mixed method design, which combines literature review with semi-structured interviews to understand the use of AI to help disseminate and restore Naga traditions. And it was basically a simple random sampling, which was used to select 4 respondents, 2 males and 2 females, to reduce the selection biasness and to for better representative of community views. So the key insight literatures are this, that the global literature shows how AI being used for digitizing collections, automatic cataloging, reconstructing damaged artifacts, and supporting endangered languages through speech recognition and natural language processing. Then we have scholars that stress on the storytelling, which is rational, relational, and rich in context. If AI systems don't take into account community control and context, they could distort, detage, and destroy living traditions instead of preserving them. So international bodies such as UNESCO stress ethical AI frameworks, community consent, and respect for cultural rights as essential for AI-driven cultural heritage projects. The key findings is that the respondents agreed that AI can help digitize and visually present Naga oral histories, languages, rituals, and crafts, making them more accessible, especially to youths, and easing research tasks like data gathering and literature review. So one of the concrete examples mentioned by the interviewee was that we all know the Hornbill Festival 2024. There was a cultural performance mediated by AI Sasha, who presented during the Hornbill Festival, showing how AI can promote Naga culture in innovative public. And the major challenges is that there were loss of originality, mispresentation due to limited Naga-specific datasets, commercialization and misuse of cultural symbols online, algorithm bias, mispronunciation of Naga languages, and AI's inability to replace grassroots field work and human empathy. In conclusion, AI holds a very significant promise to preserve Naga cultural identity by digitizing vast records, enhancing access, supporting research, and also enabling a creative storytelling. And also, participants stress on the community-led governance of cultural data, active role of elders and scholars and cultural practitioners to fact check of AI outputs to avoid stereotyping and distortion. And there is also this responsible use, which requires legal awareness like IT and data protection rules, informed consent, AI and digital literacy for youth, and recognition that AI should assist and not replace the emotional understanding and live experience that underpin authentic Naga cultural heritage. Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Esther. That's very nice to know about the positive side of AI's use in Naga culture and arts, and of course with caution, as you pointed out, with UNESCO's stress on the ethics part of it. Thanks a lot for sharing your presentation, and I would invite any questions, any remarks by anybody. Okay, Esther probably will come back to that later. Thanks a lot for your presentation and timely presentation. Thank you very much. So I would now invite Dr. Rudra Ranjan Sejpada from Department of JMC, Fakir Mohan University, Vyasa Vihar, Odisha. He will be making a presentation on assessing media coverage of climate change and environmental issues in Balasore district, a comparative analysis of Sambad and Samaja newspapers. He has been assisted by Dr. Simta Padi, and she's a joint author, of course. And do we have Rudraji here? Okay, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. We can't hear you. आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा, sir. We can't hear you yet, sir.
Rudra, please unmute your mic. Oh, he is unmuted only. He muted right now. I think, Rudra, there is some technical audio glitch from your end. What we can do is, sir, we can take him later. He can solve that issue and we can take the another one first.
Okay, sure. Sure. And thanks a lot. We'll come to then Garima Yadavji. She is a research scholar at Department of Sociology and Social Work, IIS, deemed to be University Jaipur. The co-author is Dr. Aarti Sharma, associate professor with her. So the subject is widowhood and media, narratives of loss, resilience, and representation. Okay, I can see Yadavji here. Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Please begin with a brief introduction about yourself and 5 minutes of presentation. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My name is Garima Yadav from IIS deemed to be University, Jaipur. The title of my study is Widowhood and Media, Narratives of Loss, Resilience and Representation. I will begin by sharing the abstract of my study, which outlines the central themes and aims of my work. Widowhood is a complex social condition shaped not only by cultural and religious traditions, but also by the stories the media creates. The study explores how widows are represented in print, broadcast, and digital media, and how these portrayals influence society's views on gender, grief, and identity. Using feminist media theory and cultural studies, the research compares older portrayals where widows are shown as silent, grieving, and restricted, with newer representations in digital storytelling and social media, where widows appear more empowered and self-defining. Through a qualitative analysis of media texts and online narratives, the study shows a shift from invisibility and stigma to greater visibility and agency. It also examines how widows use media for self-representation and advocacy, turning experiences of loss into stories of resilience. Overall, the study argues that media both reflect society's anxieties about widowhood and shapes new spaces for empowerment. These findings contribute to broader discussions on gender representation, public emotions, and the politics of mourning. Uh, so this is all. Thank you for listening. I hope this brief presentation has shown how important media narratives are in shaping our understanding of widowhood and how these stories can influence both social attitudes and personal experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garbaji. That was a very brief and useful kind of a explanation about your presentation, and we're glad to hear those kind of observations where widowhood, which was always seen only as a negative thing, where they've been also getting empowered through their own efforts.
Yes, sir.
And media is helping in that, which is good to know. But I hope these are not exceptions, but they become the rule going forward.
Yes,
Thanks a lot for making that kind of quick submission. Any questions anybody has here? Okay, Dharmaji probably will come back to that later. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Now I'll come to Chinda Michael here, who is from Faculty of Humanities, Alex Federal University, ITO. Framing the climate crisis, a comparative analysis of BBC, NDTV, and Arise News' reportage. Do we have Chinda Michael here? Babita ji, any idea? Do we have the author here? The speaker here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's there. But we are unable to hear him. He's speaking, but we are unable to hear him.
Yeah, okay, we can see. Yeah. Sir, please go ahead and brief introduction about yourself and 5 minutes of presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone.
We can't hear you. A bit louder, please.
Now?
Yeah, that was slightly
Is it?
audible. Yeah. Try again, please.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
My name is Chinda Michael. I'm from the Department of Theatre at Alex Ekweme Federal University. I'm a PhD research student. And the title of my topic is Framing the Climate Crisis, a Comparative Analysis of BBC, NDTV, and Arise News reportage. And to introduce the research, there are evidences of climate change and its cataclysmic sequel in a lot of reportages, and it's apparent that these reportages are increasing by the day on different news channels, and these are devastating and numerous, as mentioned. And the problem of this research, or the research gap, is the understanding of how specific international news outlets like NDTV, BBC, and Arise News frame climate change across structured dimensions such as vulnerability, responsibility, solutions, tone, geopolitical orientation, and visual evidence. So there seems to be a gap in scholarly materials that have been able to investigate and put together how these events are being reported. And we know that the way these events are being reported shape audience interpretation, audience perception. So the aim of the study is to systematically assess how climate change and crisis are framed by news channels of great repute and international reach. And the objectives are to identify the dominant event types and hazard descriptions used in selected climate reports, to examine how vulnerable groups are presented or omitted, to assess the attribution or denial of responsibility or blame in the narratives, to evaluate the extent and quality of education, enlightenment, and solutions presented by these news channels, to analyze the tone, emotional register, and geopolitical orientation of the reports, and finally, to document the use of visual evidence, wording, and duration patterns in climate reportage. So this study is significant to the manner in which there is understanding of how global media shape public perception of climate change. It offers insights to journalists, educators, policymakers, and climate communicators, provides a replicable coding framework for future climate media studies. It helps to identify the gaps, as I mentioned in the problem statement, between climate disasters, proposed solutions, and actual news coverage. And it also contributes to improving climate communication and public awareness strategies. Now, the methodology is a qualitative content analysis using a predefined coding framework. And in this qualitative content analysis, there is a selection, purposive sampling of international news channels that are reputable. And the three of them selected are NDTV, BBC, and Arise News. And the coding pattern or the analytic framework that will be used will be anchored on 10 areas. And these are event type and description, vulnerability and affected groups, attribution of responsibility, education and enlightenment, solutions and response, tone and emotional register, geopolitical orientation, use of visual evidence, choice of words, and duration. So this will be the analytic framework where these three channels will be analyzed through their YouTube space, because most of the channels now are gravitating towards the social media for greater reach, for greater public accessibility. So these 10 analytic frameworks are going to be used to analyze these reportages of the climate change. And the two theoretical grounds, the frameworks that will be used are the framing theory and the social responsibility theory. These theories are chosen because the framing theory suggests how media plays out some information to the audience. With the manner in which they report this news, they are able to shape public perception. And so the cruciality or necessity of this can either be or can either be attention. Sorry. So the framing techniques which are used by these channels determine how urgent this climate crisis are being perceived by audiences. And the analysis is still going on because it's a daunting process to comparatively analyze three channels using these 10 analytic frameworks I mentioned. But so far, findings are already coming out. And one of the findings are the disconnectedness between climate disasters and climate reportage, meaning that in these reportages, there is an isolation in reportage where we see reporting of climate disasters without showing or without presenting their direct relationship with disastrous events. So these reportages are being presented as though they stand in isolation as a topic, and rather, and they do not have a relationship, direct relationship with the disasters itself. You see the disasters being reported by the news channels, and they do not actually talk about climate change, or you see the climate change being reported in isolation, and you do not see the disastrous effects being attached to it. And then the framing tends to naturalize this crisis, meaning that the reportages are being presented as natural occurrences, natural phenomena that happen, instead of being attributed to some particular issues, such as government or corporations. It's just treated as an impersonal global phenomenon in the reportages. Also, solutions are general and they are not linked to disaster impacts. The connection between what is happening and how to respond is almost absent. And then the affected group of vulnerable population are not foregrounded as much as expected. So as I said, the research is still going on, but these are some little findings I've done. And so in due time, I'll be able to conclude and formalize the findings and make some conclusions. So the study recommends that greater attention is given to reportages, and there should be a relationship between climate reporting and the disastrous effect, as well as who is behind it, the responsibility angle. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Chinna Michael, and for making those kind of observations. And we look forward to your completion of the study. And probably by time Banawat sir organize the next event, we'll have the fuller study and results out here. But it's good to see a completed study of BBC and Indian NDTV. And what is Arise News from? Which country does it come from?
Nigeria.
Okay, Niger. That's good to get those kind of three world perspectives. And though it's not surprising, the observations you have made that people are not linking up disaster with the climate change, but I guess that's a bigger issue which is plaguing our climate reporting. We'll come to that again later, probably. Thanks a lot for making those observations. And anybody has a question, so please come up. Probably will come back to you later. Chinna Michael, thanks a lot for coming all the way and making this presentation. Thank you. So that brings us to Professor Regina from, again, Nigeria, Media Technology, Sustainable Development Goals and Eradication of Hunger and Poverty in Nigeria. Do we have Professor Regina with us here? Professor Regina? It seems that we are missing out on Professor Regina also. So we'll come to them later, the ones who had not.
She is there, sir. She's there.
There?
In
Oh,
the rest of the parts, like people who
okay,
have.
Professor Regina, please.
Good
I think
afternoon,
it-
everybody, and you're welcome to this topic on media, technology, and sustainable development goals.
Professor
And
Regina, do you mind
eradication.
switching on your camera, please?
Pardon?
Do
Good
you mind
afternoon,
switching-
everyone. I am
Can you-
Regina. I am
Can you turn on
Professor
your
Regina.
camera, please?
Are you with me?
Yes, would you like to turn on your camera, please? Switch on your camera, please.
My camera, okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. We're with you. Please go. Yeah.
You're welcome to this topic on media, technology, and sustainable development goals, and eradication of hunger and poverty in Imo State, Nigeria. Well, I am Professor Regina Cholono of the Department of Mass Communication, Evangel University, Akese, in Ebonyi State. Well, the aim of the study is to find out how media and technology have imparted on the eradication of hunger and poverty in Imo State, Nigeria. The objectives of the study are as follows. One, to determine how media and
Your voice is breaking. We can't hear you.
technology
Your voice is breaking. We can't hear you.
have assisted in the implementation of sustainable development goals and
We can't hear you.
to propagate why? I don't know why.
Regina,
Yeah,
your
it's
voice
fine
is
now.
breaking. Maybe there's a network issue.
Maybe I think you may like to switch off the camera. Maybe that will.
It's okay, that's better. All
Yeah,
right.
please go ahead.
Are you with me now? The next objective is to ascertain the extent to which the use of the media have helped to propagate the policies among the residents of Imo State. Another is to determine the importance of the eradication of hunger and poverty through the use of technology by the acquisition of technical skills. The next one is to ascertain whether the inconsistency in the implementation of the policies have helped to undermine the success of achieving the goals of sustainable development goals in national development in Nigeria. And finally, to investigate the state economic empowerment development strategy, whether it is going to be a viable option for achieving a reduction in hunger.
Ma'am, I think there's an interruption. Would you like to rejoin? We can't hear you. It's breaking regularly.
In
Can you hear us, ma'am?
Imo State.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
And we know what the dependency theory
Yeah,
says.
but your voice is breaking constantly. We're not able to follow you.
I can hear you.
Would you like to rejoin?
Maybe because there was a plane
Okay.
going.
Please repeat.
Rejoin to start all
No,
over
please
again.
repeat what you said in the last couple of minutes.
The objectives.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I was saying that the study adopted the dependency theory. And we know that the dependency theory explains the inequality, the global inequality between the developed nations and the developing nations. Well, for this study, primary data was collected through the questionnaire and the interview schedule. Primary data collected was presented and analyzed using the tables and the percentages. I'll go straight to the findings of the work. The findings of this study included that majority of the respondents agreed that they were very much aware of the government concept of global sustainable development and its global attainments. They were also very much aware of the media publicity on the policy, government policy that has to do with the eradication of hunger and poverty. They were also aware of the government policies and the media dissemination of the technical skills acquired by respondents. Although these skills were there, many of the respondents did not, join in the programs for the acquisition of the skills. Majority of them did not join, but those of them who joined revealed that the skills they acquired helped them to enhance their economic well-being. So the study therefore concludes that although government has many policies that has to do with sustainable development goals and the eradication of hunger and poverty in Imo State, it is not enough because of the undermining factors of the inadequacy and the inconsistency in the policy implementation and the policy formulation. So therefore, this study, comes to conclude that government should do more in using the media and using the technology to help the people to acquire, the skills they desire to, in order to help themselves, and also know exactly what sustainable development goals are and appreciate the well-being of achieving sustainable development goals. The study here recommends that the inadequacy and the inconsistency in policy implementation, policy formulation and implementation should be taken care of. And for it to be taken care of, the study suggests that there has to be transparency and accountability in the formulation and implementation of these policies geared towards the reduction of hunger and poverty in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Againa. That was very helpful to get a sense of what's happening in Nigeria in terms of sustainable development, the kind of lack of awareness and the kind of need for connecting the dots. Thanks a lot for sharing that perspective. And if anyone has a question, please do pose it to Professor Regina here, or we can come to that later. Anybody? Okay. Thanks a lot, Professor Regina. We'll come back to later in case any participant has a question. And that brings me to Mahira Imam, research scholar from Department of Women's Studies, Bharatdeshan University. Do we have Mahira Imamji here? Yeah, ma'am. Okay, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just share my PPT. Just give me a second.
Yeah, a few words about yourself and brief introduction and about your paper on technology, gender and violence, conceptualizing platform, mediated gendered harm in contemporary governance context. Quite a subject. Yeah, please go ahead. Talk about yourself a few lines, please.
Sure. Just. I think my PPT is visible enough, isn't it?
Yeah, we can see you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Myself, Mahira Imam. I'm a research scholar pursuing my PhD in gender technology. Like basically, I'm working on how this technology is a kind. Okay, so how this technology is kind of harming, and how these things are working. Towards and kind of we work towards the safer digital spaces. So with this. I would like to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here and to present my work. So the title of this work is a technology, gender and violence, like how this paper is based on a conceptual paper. The data which I have talked and which I have included in this paper is a kind of a secondary data-based paper, secondary-based data, which has been gathered from the NCRP report, NFHS 5, which came in last year, and then the worldly report, the global media reports and other reports, which has been, UN women reports and all those are included into the summary of these few summaries has been included into this to kind of put forth this idea that when we talk about technology, when we talk about technological based violence, that violence is not coming from a person, coming not from a perspective of just a single-handed violence. It's not about just a technology violence. This is whole a systemic violence, a structural violence, which is taking place at place as a form of technology, and this technology and digital spaces are giving them a platform to perpetuate the violences which has been in our society from very long. So there is a historical background to also to understand technology violence. So with this, when we talk about what is technology facilitated gender-based violence, just like I have explained, and I am damn sure like everyone who is sitting here knows about that what we can call technology facilitated gender-based violence. So when we say that what is technology-based violence, this includes that the violences which is being enabled and which being aggravated in the form of technology, in the form of digital spaces. For example, harassment, stalking, deepfake, image-based. There are a number of the violences which is happening, and at the same place, these violences which we can count, and there are every day there is a new kind of harms and there is new kind of violences which is taking place, and this is how till now we are not able to just give a particular name to a particular violence. That's why even UN Women has also said that we are every day the way we are seeing the new forms of violences, so we are not able to give a particular name for this violence. So some places it is being called as technology facilitated violence, some places it's being as a online based violence, some places it is being called as a cybercrime and cyber violences. It's an umbrella term which, and there are different forms under this umbrella comes. So why this matters, like just like right now I've said that why we need to talk about this violence from a gender perspective, why there is a need, because things are happening right from financial harms to scamming, spam. There are so many things are happening. But when you see the data says completely there is a, even if you see the data in NCRP report which just came in on 29th of September 2025, that report says that how cybercrime against women is being increased, and they have put that Uttar Pradesh is one of the state in India is showing the majorly women are reporting there. And one of the important things which I want to highlight here is that when we report a violence, when we see the data or report, it is an ice tip of the iceberg, because there are so many women who are not reporting. And currently I'm doing my data collection for this my PhD also. So that data also shows that how women are being, I'm not saying that they're being ignorant, but how we ignore in the name of blocking a perpetrator and blocking the chats and removing the things. So these women who are reporting, the report says that it's alarming. And even here I want to quote one of the important report which came in 2015, and that was the report which came under the UN Broadband Commission. They said that at that time, I'm talking about a 10 years back report, the report said that it is alarming. It is a world should talk about this violence. And now sitting in the 2025, we have a UN UN Women has declared, UN Women has declared violence against women. Like this 16 days activism is currently running on. Like 16 days they have given to talk about digital violences. So how we have to see the data, and we have to completely understand from a data perspective. Here I want to quote one of the report which came from the UNESCO that says that 75 women who are journalists who are reporting about the incidents, 73% women have faced online abuses, and gender digital violence is a barrier to freedom, work, and expression. And this line has been said by the UN General Secretary, who said that how when we talk about right to work, right to be on the platform, there is also right to use the internet. It's a human right. In 2016, they have given this this statement. So core concept and platform mediated gender harms. The same things which I have been already said, that how we need to see from our understanding, like there is a key mechanism, the way algorithm works, the way how we think about, how we just say that there is only, whenever any crime happens, we mostly talk that, okay, you should not put something onto Facebook, you should not put something onto there, here and there. But there is a kind of mindset which is working to against and towards the towards the how we have to weaker a section of the some society. Theoretical framework, here I have taken 3 theories, like Nancy Fraser, she has to completely talk about how there is an important need to participatory participation. When we say that participatory participation, here it comes as a, like whosoever is using the internet, like women and girls and boys and men, whosoever is using, there should be a participation of to them. The technology who framed them, like they should not exclude one section of the society that comes from the women and girls. And when we talk about Crenshaw has talked about intersectionality. So this paper has also expounded and data from the intersectional perspective, like how different caste, class, gender also become the one of the barrier and one of the reason to be one of the women will be more harmed from comparison to the another. That's where the intersectionality come. And talking about Ruha Bachman and Safia Noble, they have talked about algorithm bias. Now the data has moved from it's not just about someone is using DP or something, that the violence has moved from that place to algorithmic violence. Like when you talk about, when you search, when you say something to the platform, the platform will completely bias the data from the what should be for women, what should be for the women, what should be for the men. So this whole idea, the algorithmic violence, is now coming up with the advance, and this is more dangerous for the women in particular. How platform enable harm, like here again, data profiling increases the doxing, stalking rings, risk. Algorithms reward engagement even if it's harmful, and moderation systems are slow, biased, and inaccessible. Example, here I want to quote the example which came in the lockdown period, that Sully Bai and Gulli Bai, like how Muslim women were being targeted through these apps, and how Muslim women were like kind of, they were their photos were put forth onto those platforms, and how they were kind of extracted from those places, and how this, I mean, whenever something happens to the online form, the one thing which comes to the women and girls, that okay, you should not use this platform. And that at the time of Sullibai and Gullibai app, which happened, is that many Muslim women were kind of hesitant to use the social media, and they were kind of making themselves as a silent visitor of the platforms, not as an active visitors. Here I want to quote one of the important study, which is by Mary John. She said that when something happens to a platform, women themselves exclude by using them. So this harm is not just something which is directly saying you that don't use these spaces. This harm is kind of making you psychological understand that okay, this place is not safe, so we should not be here, we should not do something. So that's, I mean, and that is one of the example. It's just one thing.
Sorry to interrupt you here, we're running out of time, huh?
Yes, I'm about to finish that. Okay, sorry. So when we talk about takeaways and call of the action, so we have to understand this is a structural violence. And when we talk about the structural violence, there should be a structural understanding to this also. We must redesign platform, shift businesses models, and center safety. And here I'm coming from a gender and women studies background. I just like to like there are so many feminist studies are onto this technology and violence. We should have an understanding of from a just society, just a digital future. With this, thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much for giving opportunity.
Thank you, Mahara Imam. That was very interesting kind of a presentation to get a sense of the gendered angle to this whole issue. Thanks a lot for your presentation. If anybody has any question, quickly, otherwise we can try to wind up as we're running short of time and we have another session coming up. Professor Banawata is, I'm sure, getting a bit anxious about timing it. So I'll take a few quick minutes to sum up and close. I think, this was a great session where we had, it was a multi-layered kind of a thing, multi-level kind of a thing, though the title was Climate Crisis and Media Response, but it moved a bit away from that. And I wouldn't say it moved away. I would say that there was a more zooming out of the issues. And if we put them under large umbrella of sustainable development, they get covered, whether it is, we talk about the challenges of today or the future challenges posed by AI, we talk about equity, ethics, present challenges, the tech challenges. So all of those really finally boil down to sustainable development. You can rate to them one of the goals or to multiple goals in terms of indicators, also directly or indirectly. So that was a good sense to get a wide canvas of presentations from India as well as abroad. So this was very, very helpful. And I can see that there's one of our presenters, Rudraji, is trying to make a presentation. Rudraji, Banoji, Babita ji, do we have some time to come back to the list
Yes,
out?
yes, surely.
Okay. So I'll just pause here and request Rudraji to quickly give us a sense of his presentation since we run out of time, and it would be great to confine it to a few minutes. So please go ahead. A line about your introduction about yourself would be helpful.
Hello. So am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, namaste. This is Rudra Ranjan Sejpada from Fakirmon University, Baleshwar, Odisha. So my topic is assessing media coverage of climate change and environmental issues in Baleshwar district, a comparative analysis of Sambad and Samaj newspaper. Actually, sir, Baleshwar district of Odisha is a coastal district. So district always facing lots of environmental issues like flood, pollution, and deforestation. So my study is about to know the media coverage status in Baleshwar district. This study examines the coverage of climate change and environmental crisis in Sambad and Samaj. My objective are
Sir, आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा भाई?
Sir, my objective are to analyze the frequency of prominence and nature of reports on environmental issues in Sambad and Samaj newspaper. Also, to identify the patterns, gaps, and impacts of media coverage on local environment changes. I have also another objective, that is assess the media's role in shaping climate discourse, influencing policy, and promoting sustainable practices. Sir, I use methodology for my study, that is quantitative and qualitative. Here I have taken the time period of September 2025 to October 2025. I included the news articles, editorials, and features from both Sambad and Samaj. The findings I got that the total publication was in Sambad 62, and here you can say that the publication placed on the front page, state page, in local page, and also I got the environmental issues covered in Sambad and Samaj, like floods and water management, pollution, deforestation, and land degradation, climate change, etc. I found that the frequency and prominence of environmental reports are not so significant. Types of environmental issues like floods, pollution, and deforestation is not likely published in both newspapers. The implications of my study are media's potential in shaping climate discourse and influencing policy, and also need to increase media attention to environmental issues. My conclusion is that media plays a vital role in addressing climate change and environmental crisis in Baleshwar district, Odisha. Sambad and Samaj newspapers have the potential to share climate discourse and promote sustainable practices. Increased media attention and effective communication strategies are necessary to address the climate crisis in Baleshwar district. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. That was good to get a sense of what's happening in Balasore from ground up. Thanks a lot for sharing that kind of perspective. I think with that, almost we're at the end of it. I'll just make quick a few observations. One is that I think what has come to mind is that what we're seeing is the kind of sense I got from the presentation is that lots of things are happening and lots of positives and negatives and we have future challenges also. And when it comes to climate change particularly, lots of stories and coverage is happening which is disconnected generally from the larger picture. So climate change is no longer a climate change issue now. It has become a defining story of our times. It's economical, social, and political issue now. So we need to be cognizant of the fact that it doesn't affect only environment, but all of our life, of course. But at the same time, the debate is moving in the direction that, of course, the prone kind of a thing, and we don't have to, in typical media parlance, what we do is give equal weightage to both sides. But here we have two unequal sides. The climate impacts are so huge that we don't need to give equal space to climate deniers. Of course, their perspective should be carried, but it's not that both the sides are to be balanced, because that creates a distortion in the minds of the viewer and people, of course. At the same time, we also need to not look at climate change as an event story. It's a larger picture unfolding. For example, let's put it this way. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is just is a very small segment. But at the same time, its impact is so profound that it really negates the other components of the atmosphere. So we have to figure in those kind of totalities and link it with the fine print also. Secondly, at the same time, there are positives also happening. We don't only need to focus on the negative story. For example, lots of work is happening in the renewable space, and in India particularly, India is emerging as a leader in renewable space, solar particularly. So those stories also need their due space in the media. And finally, as some of our speakers said, that women, vulnerable people, voices people get left out of those stories. They need to be covered adequately, actually more than adequately, because they're the one who are affected very disproportionately. So that kind of a perspective is very important. But it also boils down to the fact two things. One is that till now, environment was seen as a soft beat. It was generally, with due regards, it was not given to the hot reporters. It was given to lesser softer people and all that. So we need to figure out that environment is a happening thing, even economically. So we need to figure out that, of course, it should get due prominence in newsrooms. Secondly, media itself needs to train itself. Now, media institutions unfortunately don't spend money on training at all. Times have changed now, and even the fellowships and media fellowships have dried up. But having said that, journalists themselves can do a bit of capacity building on their own. It's easily available online and through resources set up by even Professor Banawat and people, academics were there who are there to help out. So we need to figure out that. And lastly, what we practice, we must also preach. Media also causes a good deal of emissions also, whether they go to cover COP 30, or they go to cover disasters by air. So they're also causing their own share of emissions, whether they use plastics in office or they do those kind of things. So we need to factor in those also. We need to, and in fact, media's sustainability responsibility is also enshrined in the Sustainable Development Goals, which is not talked about at all actually. So media also needs to educate itself on its own role also. Those are issues which you need to be factored in. Then of course there comes the point of equity and justice, which need to be internalized in all our conversations and actions also. with this, I'll thank all of you for your wonderful presentation and hand over to Babita ji for the procedures. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much. That was really insightful address, and thank you for guiding the session so smoothly. And I want to take this moment to extend my gratitude to the session chair on behalf of Writers Reservoir and Communication today. And we want to felicitate Mr. Rajiv Tikoo by presenting e-certificate and digital memento as a token of appreciation. So thank you so much for being
Thank
part
you.
of this and
Thank you.
sharing
Grateful.
your insightful thoughts.
Grateful.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, finally, I want to thank session chair, Mr. Rajiv Tikoo, and all the participants, all the listeners, audiences, and all the researchers, scholars. I also want to extend my sincere appreciation to the organizing team, technical team, and for their support and active participation, all the participants. And this session has become so meaningful and impactful because of you all. I request now all the participants and all the people present here to please switch on your camera so that we can take a group picture, group photograph.
Yeah, Babita, I've taken. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Asa ma'am.
Thank you.
We will start the next technical session on the topic of media technology and sustainable development goals at 3:45 p.m. So stay tuned, all of you, and thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Banav sir. Thank you, Babita. Thank you, Asanam. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Rajiv sir. Thank you.
Thank you.